Hi everybody, welcome back to Mando Lessons. In this series we're going to be working on the song Will the Circle Be Unbroken? It was written in 1907 by Ada Habershon, I'm not exactly sure how to say her name, and the music was written by Charles Gabriel. It's been covered by a bunch of folks from Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, the Carter Family, a bunch of different versions. The original version, written by Ada, is now in the public domain. Some of those other versions are not. So the words that I sing and the notes that I sing might be a little different from what you're used to, but the chords should all work the same. So don't take what I sing as the only truth. You know, there's a lot of versions out there now. This tune has really kind of gone through the folk process. So sing what you know, look up the words that you know, and just have fun with this song. What I'm going to do is go through it, in this session, I'm going to teach the chords in the key of G, and then move on in later lessons into picking out the melody and changing the key and adding double stops and things like that. If you enjoy these lessons, check out mandolessons.com for a bunch of other lessons, a bunch of tunes, a bunch of songs, techniques, you name it. It's over there. There's also a couple ways to donate if that's your choosing, but the lessons will always be free if that's what works best for you. Jumping into the music, what I'll do is sing it and play it and then break it down. There are loved ones in the glory whose dear forms you often miss. When you close your earthly story, will you join them in their bliss? Will the circle be unbroken by and by, by and by? Is a better home awaiting in the sky, in the sky. So that gives you a sense of it. And what I also want to do in these lessons is talk about how I go about learning a song. You know, maybe I have a song in my head like, oh, I'd really love to learn Will the Circle Be Unbroken? The first thing that I do, not knowing the chords and not necessarily knowing all the words, I look up on Google, just type in Will the Circle Be Unbroken lyrics or Will the Circle Be Unbroken chords, and you'll get probably a lot of different versions up there, but find one that looks right to you, or find a recording, maybe look on YouTube, things like that. It'll give you a sense of how it's supposed to sound, and then use that as a jumping off point. So, maybe you've searched Google and you've found the words that look right to you and some chords that don't look too hard. What I do first is just kind of scan through those chords. So if you take a look at the lyrics for this this lesson are available, and this song are available over at mandolessons.com. And often you'll find, the lyrics are down here, and right above the lyrics you'll have chord names like G, C, and D are going to be used in this example. So what I do is I just kind of scan through and look and say, do I know all the chords that are being used? And if I do, great. If I don't, what I do is you can use Google, or Mandolin Cafe has a great chord finder where you can just sort of scroll through and say, I need a D chord. How do I play a D chord? And it'll show you a little diagram of where to put your fingers. Or you can look. I've got lessons for a lot of chords at mandolessons.com. Or you can buy books that have a bunch of chords in them, probably more chords than you'll ever need to know. Find shapes that look easy enough to play, and just sort of work through those chords. So, if you're a little unfamiliar with the D chord, get that D chord shape in your fingers, and then try to move, maybe from a G to a D and back to a G. Get those switches comfortable. So you've scanned through now. You know what chords you're supposed to be playing. You know where to put your fingers. Next thing I do is just kind of work through the lyrics, not necessarily in time or with any rhythm, and find where your voice is supposed to be to sing along with the chords that are written down. And I'm no singer. I don't think of myself as a singer anyway, and mostly just sing for my enjoyment. And when I have to sing for these sort of lessons, so it can take a little bit just to find that match of where your voice goes and where the chord comes out. There are loved ones. Kind of be feel free to let your voice waver around and try a bunch of different notes. That can often be one of the hardest parts, just of there are loved ones, and your voice will sink into it. And once you get the first couple notes, that's often the hardest part, and the rest will follow with the chords. So finding those first couple notes, we have there are loved ones, and it says to play a G. In the glory, whose dear, and then there's a C over the word forms. Whose dear forms you often, and then back to G on miss. Miss, when you, and then close your earthly story, will you join them? And then D on in there, back to G, bliss. Same thing for the chorus, has the same chords. Will the circle, is a G, be unbroken by and by? There's a C chord on that first by, or second by. By and by, the end of that line goes back to G. Is a better home awaiting in the sky, in the sky. Little quick D back to G. And run through the verse, run through the chorus, make sure nothing is going to surprise you, and get those chords. Just kind of don't worry about getting rhythm or time or anything fancy. Just get those bare bones. Really help you out a lot, especially if you look up songs that have more chords that are a little more complicated. Once you do that, start trying to get a little bit of rhythm into your right hand, maybe just a downstroke. And I'll just use the chorus from now on. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, by and by, is a better home waiting in the sky, in the sky. And once that starts feeling comfortable, try to get a little bit more, maybe a little right hand picking pattern in your fingers. If you're looking for some picking patterns, check out, there's a beginner's series on mandolessons.com, and one of the lessons in that series, I teach some great picking patterns that would work really well, like this kind of, I call it the guitar strum, because it sort of simulates a guitar with an alternating bass line. So it might sound like this. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, by and by, is a better home waiting in the sky, in the sky. So sing through the lyrics, sing through the chorus, try to get those rhythms going in your hands. And, try not to do too many of those steps at once, especially with the first couple songs that you learn. Just taking it one step at a time. Make sure there's no weird chords that are going to jump out at you. Try to get a little bit of... learn where the chords interact with the melody and where they change. And then try to get just a basic rhythm in your right hand. And once all that feels comfortable, try to spruce up your right hand and add maybe a little more complex picking pattern. I think that's a good stopping place for this lesson. Again, if you need the chords and the words, check out mandolessons.com. I've got them over there under the Will the Circle Be Unbroken series. Probably going to end up in the bluegrass section, although I might make a song section at some point, so check out there too. And if these words aren't what you're familiar with, look up the words that you are familiar with. I probably just can't do those words because they're held under copyright. Um, but it's the same melody, same chords, and just put in the chords that you're used to. So check out in the second lesson in this series, I'm gonna work out picking out the melody in the key of G, the key we've been working with. And then in further lessons, I'm gonna jump into a new key and show you some double stops. So keep on watching. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.